The ancient Veltar archives hummed with 1,000 years of warnings, their crystalline data cores pulsing with urgent crimson light. Elder. Zixthara's 6 eyes focused on the holographic display showing the small blue world in the outer spiral arm, a planet the inhabitants called Earth. "The scans are complete," announced Adnan Chen, the human liaison officer aboard the Galactic Council's flagship Convergence. His dark eyes reflected the swirling nebulae outside the viewport as he addressed the assembled representatives from 47 species. Humanity formally requests membership in the Galactic Coalition. A ripple of what could only be described as nervous laughter echoed through the chamber's translation matrix. The Zephyrian delegates' tentacles writhed in amusement, while the crystalline Altarians chimed melodically, their version of derision. "Impossible," clicked High Commander Vextol of the militant Skarn hegemony, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber's lights. "These humans have barely achieved faster-than-light travel. They've been spacefaring for less than 2 centuries. We require species with at least 5 millennia of galactic experience." Nehal Okafor, standing beside Adnan as Earth's xenobiologist representative, stepped forward with quiet confidence. Her scientific uniform bore the insignia of the United Earth Sciences Division, and her voice carried the weight of careful study. "With respect, High Commander, age doesn't always correlate with capability. Humanity may be young, but we've achieved in 200 years what took most species 2,000. Elder Zixthara's ancient form shifted, her gossamer wings casting ethereal shadows. "Child species," she began, her voice like wind through crystal caves. "You speak of achievements, but do you comprehend the responsibilities of galactic citizenship? The Devourers have been dormant for only 3 centuries. When they return, and they will return, every species must contribute to the defense." The Devourers. Even Adnan, despite his extensive briefings, felt a chill at the name. Mechanical entities from beyond known space that had last ravaged the galaxy 300 years ago, consuming entire star systems before mysteriously withdrawing. What exactly would humanity contribute? The question came from Ambassador Thiel, whose aquatic species had lost 12 colonies to the last Devourer incursion. Moisture dripped from her gills as she spoke through her environmental suit. "Your military consists of kinetic projectiles and fusion weapons. Your technology is primitive by galactic standards." Adnan and Nehal exchanged glances. They had prepared for this moment. "We understand your skepticism," Adnan replied calmly. "But humanity has something unique, something the Elder Archives have noted but dismissed." The chamber fell silent. Elder Zixthara's 6 eyes narrowed simultaneously. "Explain." Nehal activated her portable holographic projector. Images of human history cascaded through the air, from the first tools to spaceflight, from cave paintings to quantum computers. Every species in this council achieved spaceflight through gradual technological evolution spanning millennia. Humanity compressed that timeline dramatically through one trait: adaptive improvisation under extreme pressure. "Your archives call it destructive innovation," Adnan continued. "What you see as humanity's greatest weakness, our tendency toward conflict and chaos, is actually our greatest strength. We don't just adapt to challenges, we transform them into advantages." High Commander Vextol's mandibles clicked impatiently. Philosophy will not stop the Devourers' quantum disruptors or their matter conversion weapons. The lights in the chamber suddenly dimmed, and emergency klaxons began wailing. The massive viewport showed space itself tearing open like fabric, revealing the distinctive energy signatures that had haunted galactic nightmares for centuries. "Impossible," whispered Ambassador Thiel. "They're not due to return for another 70 years." The Devourers had arrived early. 3 massive vessels emerged from the spatial rift, each one the size of a small moon, their surfaces writhing with mechanical tendrils that seemed to devour light itself. The Coalition's most advanced warships moved to intercept, their energy shields flaring against the Devourers' preliminary scans. "All civilian vessels retreat to minimum safe distance," ordered the flagship's captain. Military units assumed defensive positions, but Adnan was already moving toward the communication console. "Captain, request permission to contact the human fleet." "What human fleet?" Vextol demanded. "Your species was granted only observer status. You have no military vessels in this sector." Nehal smiled grimly. That's not entirely accurate. The viewport suddenly filled with new contacts, dozens of ships that hadn't been there moments before. But these weren't the sleek, elegant vessels of the established galactic powers. They were angular, asymmetrical craft that looked like they'd been assembled from salvaged materials. And pure determination. "This is Admiral Sarah Voss of the UES Indomitable," crackled a transmission. "We've been tracking this rift for 3 weeks. Human fleet standing by for coordination with coalition forces." Elder Zixthara's form shimmered with shock. "How did they detect the incursion before our early warning systems?" "Because," Adnan explained as the first wave of human vessels engaged the Devourers with tactics no one had ever seen, "we've been preparing for this fight since the day we first heard your warnings. While the galaxy dismissed humanity as too primitive, we've been developing countermeasures specifically designed for enemies who consider themselves technologically superior." The battle unfolded unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Human ships didn't match the Devourers' power. They exceeded it through sheer ingenuity. They used gravity wells as slingshots, turned asteroid fields into kinetic bombardment weapons, and employed cyber warfare techniques that the mechanical entities couldn't adapt to fast enough. "Impossible," repeated Vextall, but his tone had changed from dismissive to awed. Nehal watched the tactical display with quiet pride. "You've all been fighting the Devourers the same way for millennia, matching technology against technology, trying to outbuild them. Humanity took a different approach. We studied every battle, every defeat, every tactical report in your archives. Then we prepared for a war of imagination against mere optimization. When the last Devourer vessel retreated through its collapsing rift, the galaxy had witnessed something unprecedented. A decisive victory against an enemy that had seemed unstoppable." Elder Zixthara approached the two humans, her ancient eyes reflecting newfound respect. "The archives spoke truly," she said softly. "They warned that humanity would change everything, that nothing in the galaxy could stand against your potential. We thought it meant you would threaten us." Adnan extended his hand in the universal human gesture of partnership. "The warnings were right about one thing. Nothing can stand against humanity. But they missed the most important part. When humanity fights, it fights for everyone." The Galactic Coalition had 47 member species when the day began. As the Convergence set course for Earth to formalize humanity's full membership, it had 48. And for the first time in galactic history, the Elders' warnings had been proven both absolutely correct and wonderfully incomplete.